And welcome back to Monday Morning. My name's Eric Stewart.
And I'm Paul Robinson.
We're here with Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. Now, we've been talking during the break about the fact that there has not been so much of an exodus from Baltimore City, that the numbers have leveled off. And of course, if you watch Monday Morning, you know that we're focused on community, home ownership, and as well as the real estate and finance areas. But Stephanie, you were actually saying that you all are expecting numbers to go up. What is Baltimore and more importantly the City Council doing to attract new homeowners?
We've been focusing on increasing the quality of service for everything. You know, people care about their quality of life. They care about their streets being clean. They care about, you know, if they have to call a city, that someone answers is pleasant, that the schools are improving, all the things that make your life great. You know, and we've been working very diligently in the years that we had surplus to make sure that we were using any extra money that we had in those budgets to enhance the city in ways that would really sustain the renaissance that we've been having.
All right, let's take a step back. What is the role of the City Council, of its members, and you as the president? What exactly are the roles of those folks?
The City Council is a legislative body, right? So I often say to groups, especially if I'm talking to kids about the way government works, the mayor directs the budget. The mayor says, you know, these are the things that I think are important, and this is how we're going to spend the money in the city. And the City Council's role as oversight, we make sure that that those priorities are in line with our constituents, that however the money is spent, that we make sure that government works for the people of our respective districts. So we have 14 districts and single member districts, and I preside over the body. And as the president of the City Council, I also preside over the Board of Estimates, and that is where the business of the city is transacted on a weekly basis. So it's a dual function.
So speaking of revenue, the largest revenue factor for the city is real estate taxes. What is the city doing with regards to all the vacant properties that the city owns?
One exciting thing that's on the horizon is the land bank proposal that Mayor Dixon talked about in her State of the City and her inauguration speech. And that is a way for the city to move more swiftly into disposition of city-owned vacant properties. And we're working very closely with the Comptroller's Office, the Department of Housing, and the Mayor's Office, so we can put into place those protocols. You know, what properties qualify? How are they? You know, who qualifies to buy them? Do you have to be a developer? Can you be a single buyer that you want to purchase one home for development? All of those rules we're putting into place now.
Is there a time frame for that? I know it's a proposal.
It is a proposal, but we're working very hard to move it quickly, just because, you know, you talk about property tax being the biggest source of revenue. You know, we understand that.
Yeah, and I would think it would be at the top of it.
It is. It's a number one priority, and the enabling legislation to allow us to do this land bank was passed in the legislative session that just closed. And you know, so now we have the authority to move forward. We cannot take for granted the momentum that the city has, and you know, we are shoring up those neighborhoods. You know, when you can get a handle on vacant properties, it has such a big effect on the surrounding community. Because
when you have just one vacancy in a neighborhood, someone that's keeping their home up should experience between 4 and 9% appreciation per year on their home. When you have a vacancy even in your block, it deteriorates the value of your home and doesn't allow you to experience the benefits of home ownership through appreciation. So it causes those homeowners not to be able to amass the same amount of wealth percentage-wise as those that are in surrounding counties. But I think that some folks in the neighborhoods feel like they're being left behind. What do you answer to that when you hear that sort of direction?
You know, it's interesting. I think in times past we could see that more clearly because there was only it seemed like there was only development downtown. But you know, I think what changed in the previous administration, we made a decision. When I say previous O'Malley administration, we made a decision that we are all going to rise or sink together. You know, so we can bicker over every little thing, or we could decide to work together to improve the city, and that's what we did. So for the first time, I think in 2 or 3 cycles of rising home prices, Baltimore was in. You know, we were at the party. You know, our home prices went up along with everyone else's, and with that rise in wealth, communities were able to, the communities were able to take advantage of that, do home improvements, which added on to the value of their home. And, we're really in a different place. So, those are the things that we're working on, and making sure that we are focused on things like code enforcement, sanitation. We have to do our part. We can't just ask residents to go above and beyond for their home. We have to do the same thing.
I agree. Now, just briefly, I want to ask you about, because it's gotten so much negative press about the crime, and not necessarily the crime, but the violent mentality of our youth. And this is affecting neighborhoods around Baltimore. What are you doing to try to curb, and what does the council have, plans to curb this type of mindset?
Yeah, one of the things that we're working on in the council is working with the administration to create a unified strategy for providing youth to young people. We have started having hearings and working with the advocates for children and youth to make sure that we're providing the right types of resources in the right areas to make sure that we are pulling our young people off the street and into productive activities, particularly in the summer. And that's when we know that we're going to be saving lives.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about a little bit older folks like myself, and all about what's going on in Baltimore City with Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. My name's Eric Stewart.
And I'm Paul Robinson.
Stay with us here on Monday Morning. We'll see you in a minute.